All right, let's dive into something kind of strange. We're looking at a huge imbalance in the world of cosmetic surgery today. And believe me, it tells us a ton about culture, our biology, and where medicine draws the line.
So think about this. Breast augmentation is a massive multi-billion-dollar industry. It's everywhere. But have you ever wondered why there's no popular cosmetic equivalent for men's testicles? I mean, it's a huge, glaring difference, right? Figuring out why that is takes us on a pretty fascinating journey. You see, the answer really boils down to a tale of two completely different procedures, ones that are guided by totally different rules, and we can break it all down into four key parts, starting with the most obvious one, our culture. Yeah, before we even touch the science or the biology, we have to talk about the massive role that culture plays. This is what you might call the aesthetics divide. I mean, just think about how different societies view these things. Breasts are often seen as this major aesthetic symbol of femininity, right? Enhancing them is frequently tied to body image and confidence. But testicles, they're just not an aesthetic focus at all. They're usually concealed, and there's absolutely no widespread cultural pressure or standard that says bigger is better. And that leads to a really simple economic point. The whole cosmetic industry runs on demand. If people don't want something, there's no market for it. There's no reason to innovate, no procedures get developed, and for testicular augmentation, that social demand just isn't there, period.
Okay, so if culture is the software here, what about the hardware, the human body itself? Well, this is where we crash right into the hard facts of biology, and things get really, really serious.
The single most important concept we need to understand is something called thermoregulation. It's basically the body's built-in cooling and heating system. And for testicles, this isn't just a neat feature. It is absolutely essential for them to do their job. How essential? Get this. Testicles have to stay between 2 and 4 degrees Celsius cooler than the rest of the body to work right. That is an incredibly narrow window, and it's a delicate balancing act that the body is performing 24/7.
So why is that temperature so important? Because if you mess with it, you put everything at risk. We're talking about sperm production, testosterone secretion, the stuff that affects the entire body's hormonal balance. Now just imagine trying to stick a foreign implant into that super-sensitive, temperature-controlled environment. You'd be risking throwing that whole system into total chaos.
This biological brick wall leads us straight to the reason for these procedures in the first place. And here, we see a huge split between what is medically needed versus what is cosmetically desired. And the difference is just night and day. Breast surgery, it can be for cosmetic augmentation, an elective choice, or for medical reconstruction, say after a mastectomy. But testicular implants, they have one job and one job only, reconstruction. They're only ever used for specific medical reasons, like after an injury, cancer, or if someone was born without one. So, to put it simply, the medical procedures that do exist aren't about enhancement at all. The entire goal is restoration, making things look normal again after something has gone wrong. It's just not augmentation. And all of this, the culture, the biology, the medical purpose, brings us to the final bottom line reason. In medicine, every single decision comes down to one simple calculation: risk versus reward. When you look at that equation here, it's not even a contest. The risks with breast augmentation, like an implant rupture, are definitely serious. But the potential risks of a hypothetical testicular augmentation, they are absolutely catastrophic. You're talking about permanent infertility, hormonal chaos, chronic pain, nerve damage. The potential consequences are on a whole other level.
So from any medical or ethical point of view, it's a complete non-starter. The potential life-altering disasters just astronomically outweigh any possible cosmetic benefit. To be blunt, no responsible doctor would ever do it.
So, when you lay it all out, the answer to our question is actually pretty clear. It's a chain of logic. 1, there's no cultural demand, so if there's no market. 2, the procedure would mess with a critical biological function. 3, its medical goal is totally different. It's about fixing, not enhancing. And 4, the risk-reward balance is just dangerously, unacceptably high. So in the end, this huge difference between these two procedures leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? What does all this really tell us about the complicated, sometimes contradictory lines we draw between changing how we look and messing with our fundamental biology? It's definitely something worth thinking about.